You guys, we have got to talk about James Charles because he has once again become a really big topic of conversation with a lot of people talking about his reputation. I recently talked about James in the fact that Kayla Malec came out with her story about her ex-boyfriend, Evan Johnson, and then it was revealed that James Charles was with Evan. A lot of people have been reacting to this story, and now even more is coming out from behind the scenes. I recently made a video talking about how James Charles was getting exposed for one, not being a good friend, and two, seemingly going back to his old ways. Over the last few years, James has tried to redeem his image and launched his makeup company, gaining a new set of eyes on his content, appealing to a younger generation, and a lot of people have flocked to his comment section to say things like, why do people hate him again? Or say that James is actually funny and they kind of like him. Everyone is getting reminded once again of why James has been called out time and time again, and why he has had to address the same thing over and over again. Recently, I talked about how Kayla Malec posted videos exposing her ex-boyfriend Evan Johnson, talking about how he hurt her, and the internet flocked to support her. In her revealing the horrific details of their relationship and what happened to her, a former friend of Evan's came online to support Kayla and revealed to the public that James Charles is actually involved in this situation somehow because he is involved with Evan, despite being friends with Kayla and knowing what happened between them. So not only was James looking like a bad friend for trying to take his friend's ex, but he was also getting accused of housing Evan and giving him advice as he was getting canceled online as it was coming out how he treated Kayla. And Zach in his video admitted that he was friends with Evan until recent, and after watching Kayla's video, he fully supports her. But James, he hasn't said a word about anything publicly. I think in this situation, he could surely benefit from saying at the very least, like, he was telling me something different, and after Kayla's video, I'm disgusted, though it wouldn't make him look like the best friend still, and also doesn't refute the accusation of him still going for men who can't even legally drink in the States yet, but surely it would ask the question of why would you be housing someone who has these allegations? Instead, it seems James is trying to ride this out silently, but the story is only getting bigger as more and more people speak out about it. Antonio Garza posted a video talking about this recently.
I don't know, with problematic people, sometimes people will show themselves to you, and you can either choose to listen or choose to ignore it. And yeah, so with the new things I see happening, again, it's all alleged. I don't know if anything is true, but I mean, if it were to be true, I'm not surprised. And I worry about the ethics. I worry about the fact that his whole new fan base is kids. Like, the reason he is having a resurgence is because it is children who are discovering him for the first time. And it's funny because there's a huge narrative online. I saw a lot during Coachella, people being like, oh my God, James is actually so funny. Like, why do we hate him? And I'm realizing, like, the people don't know. People don't know why he has a bad reputation. Kids don't understand why. And they shouldn't have to. They shouldn't have to understand why. Like, that is not something that kids should be faced with. And, you know, I don't know.
And this wasn't the only person. Mikayla Testa straight up called out James.
Just letting everyone in Australia know that James Charles is sleeping with Evan Johnson, the one that broke Kayla Malec's jaw and badly, the one that was in prison. James Charles has been housing the flying him out to sleep with him.
Bryce Hall even touched on the subject.
Man, yeah, James, you're kid. We're gonna need like 27 more crying apologies. Not only is this guy a P3DO, you get it, befriended this Kayla girl who vented to him about her boyfriend and then went behind Kayla's back to smash or get smashed by this. I know he's just shit right now. Like, he is so terrified. He's trying to hire like 19 PR teams to try to clean up this mess, and they're responding like, no kid, you're cooked. Kind of awesome now people are starting to hold him accountable for his disgusting acts. So James, you're cooked.
James has really found himself in a situation where people are once again reminded of why they don't think he's a good person, and I'm not really sure what his mindset is here. Like, truly, like, what is he doing? I think the same cycle just constantly happens where James does something, apologizes, continues on, gets cocky, thinks that he's fully able to post normally again, and then bam, we hear something about him again that is very similar to what we previously heard. It's the same old unapologetic act we've seen for years, and the only change that it seems we've seen is that he has changed which platform he's talking to people on. Instead of Snapchat, it's Instagram messages now. And he alleges like he's asking for IDs now, but that doesn't exactly help that he is still seemingly going after the same kind of people. And this time he not only looks bad for that, but he also looks like an awful friend. So Zach sat down with the channel Be Better Company and they did this whole elaborate interviews, like almost an hour long, that is very detailed about James and Evan and what kind of relationship they had.
They were in communication every single day. When I speak on that I was with Evan every single day, I was with Evan majority of every single day. The only time I was not with Evan was when he went to Miami and then when he went to California. The times that I was with him, James would use Instagram as his Snapchat. And I didn't know, like, was not aware, like, why does James not have Snapchat? Like, why is he using Instagram photos, sending back and forth?
I can tell you why he doesn't have Snapchat.
Zach went on to say in the beginning, Evan was like jokingly messaging James, but then it got more private.
Evan sharing the snaps with you, were you looking over his shoulder? Like, how did you see it? Was he kind of showing you and thought it was funny? Like,
So at the beginning, he was showing me the snaps and thought I guess it was funny.
like, oh, look, I'm snapping James Charles.
And I'm getting, pictures.
Yeah.
But as time went by, it seemed like the friendship/relationship got very private.
Right.
After it got very private, James had changed the mode on Instagram to vanish mode.
He's been known to do that.
So everything that was getting sent, it would like get sent and be completely gone. A message would go away. Yeah, just like Snapchat.
He does kind of feel like Evan was only talking to James the way that he was because him and Kayla were no longer together and he was getting clout from being in a relationship with Kayla. And if he was with James, that was kind of like his next best way to get clout. Now, in talking about James, Zach says that James actually wanted Kayla and Evan to do a Valentine's Day promo for his painted company. And it was then that he was made aware that the two of them had broken up, and he joked with Kayla at the time about if like he could have Evan now.
From speaking to Kayla, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, there was a situation where James Charles had wanted Evan Johnson and Kayla Malec to do a promotional material for his painted company for Valentine's Day, kind of having them be a couple of some kind, probably for his blush launch or something like that. Looking back, that's obviously a little bit creepy because knowing that the entire time he was interacting with them, he wanted Kayla out of the picture and he's really the one that wanted Evan. That's already a little bit bizarre.
Yes.
So then James had reached out to Kayla and said something along the lines of, are we still good to do this Valentine's Day project? And Kayla said, oh, so funny. Actually, we literally just broke up yesterday. Evan did some of the worst things a human being could ever do to someone to me. Explain the situation. And then James said something.
So James came back after she said that and was like, can I have him now? Kayla thought he was completely joking. Like literally thought her best friend, which is, James at the time, was just joking with her, saying that.
But that's already like a really inappropriate joke.
Yeah, that's...
Even if it is, but little did we know he wasn't joking at all.
Now, later we see a DM that allegedly is from James to Zach, wanting Zach to take down his video from TikTok where he had accused James of having been with and housed Evan. And it sounds like James was defending his name and claiming he was manipulated by Evan, and after watching Kayla's video, cut ties. James allegedly sent, "Hello, I'm just now seeing these. I'm absolutely not on his side and would really, really appreciate if you would leave me out of this. I only ever spoke to him because he manipulated me into thinking his situation was similar to what I went through, so it was a really personal and sensitive topic that I had empathy for. As soon as I saw Kayla's video, I felt disgusting and awful, and I've stopped responding to him altogether. He's obviously manipulating and lying to everyone. I should have never spoken to him, but you were in the car with him, so I don't think it's fair you're making a video accusing me of being some monster when he had you convinced too. I'm sorry I didn't see your messages previously. I wish I would have sooner, but I appreciate that you reached out to warn me. I'm at Coachella right now, but if you want to talk later on today or tomorrow, I can make myself available." So a couple of things about this. James talking about how Evan tried to paint his situation out to be similar to James, and James had empathy for this. It just sounds like James is trying to say that, people lied on his name and Evan was going through the same thing, even though the thing about James was that he was claiming that people lied to him about their age and tried to use him for clout, but he didn't deny that he had messaged them. He just says that he was not aware of their ages. So I'm not really understanding the whole, the situations were similar type of deal. And also the things being said about Evan, if James felt like they were not true, then that means that he did not believe his friend Kayla and was believing her ex. ex. So either way, you know, James just doesn't look the best in this situation and is definitely trying to spin it onto Zach of like, well, you obviously were friends with him at the same time that I knew him. So, you know, who are you to talk? But Zach is very much calling out James for also just like being a bad friend. I think, you know, Zach has taken accountability for being in Evan's life at this time and is trying to like do the work to spread Kayla's message and her story, whereas James is trying to sweep this whole thing under the rug because he just looks like a bad friend at the end of the day as well. Anyway, later on in the conversation, Zach then clarifies Evan's sexuality, stating that he felt it was clear that Evan was straight, and then it's discussed how this is also a pattern of behavior for James.
As far as I know, his sexuality, Evan was straight.
Right. And it's hard to speculate because obviously it exists on a spectrum, but for the most part, he operated and identified as a straight man, which is actually James Charles's type.
It's also said that Zach was under the impression that James was going to bring or try to bring Evan to Coachella, but given everything coming out, that didn't happen.
Really quickly as well, you had also said that you believe that James had invited Evan to Coachella.
Yes. So I was aware that I was witnessed the conversation of James saying that he's going to the first weekend of Coachella and that he buys his team or something, so many people, I don't know if it's his whole team or what, an artist wristband for Coachella. Well, he had bought Evan one. Obviously, Evan hadn't received it in the mail. I don't know if he was going to fly him there and give it to him, but the plan was for Evan to go to Coachella and he was going to have an artist band. But the only thing is like, you know, Evan was a little nervous because he was more likely Kayla's going to be there. And it was going back and forth, and then James is they're trying to figure out how to work it out. But what stopped that is Kayla come forward to the world with her YouTube videos of 1 and 2. So obviously, you know, James was not going to take him to Coachella then, because that would be insane.
So it wasn't enough for James to just have been told privately from someone who was his friend for years that this person did horrible things to me. It was when it became public that it became an inconvenience to him, and he was willing to separate himself from Evan when it was a risk to his reputation.
So James just doesn't look good in this situation, as people are once again calling him out for not really having changed his ways. It's just a horrible situation, truly, and I don't think at this point he will ever learn his lesson, because it's been so long now that we hear people are not really into James and only entertain him because he's James Charles, and then James is like, I was used and manipulated, when in reality it's like, dude, you're going about finding partners all the wrong way. That's why the same thing keeps happening to you. You just look extra bad this time given this person's reputation and the fact that it's your friend's ex. So that's what's been said about him as of right now. I want to know what you guys think about all of this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.